Do you think to yourself, I wish I could be 5 again with no adult responsibilities? I know. This is often a thought for some with the overwhelming issues in the adult world. Bills, adult problems, eating healthy with no more candy binges, and so much more that we make part of our life as we get older. Why is it that when we think of the past, we get nostalgic? Is it because we think of ourselves sitting in a reading nook with not a care in the world as we delve deeper into a good story? Or is it because we remember sitting with our friends with the brand new Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo, just having a fun time joking around with each other and enjoying life? I think the answer is, first, something we will answer throughout the video, but also something that is relative to each person watching, as all our backgrounds are different. Our lives may have specific games we put hours into due to that awkward age of not wanting to go out, so instead, spending time with that game that pulled us into another world. Just being in that safe environment that we know we are comfortable in, waiting impatiently all day for the seconds to tick off the clock at school till you can get home to play games, it was fun. It still is fun. To the main question I want to address though, why is nostalgia so powerful in the video game world? Hey, it's true. When you see a game being remastered that you get that special feeling inside. Say, Final Fantasy VII. At this time, it's been in the remaster process for several years and now has a release date set for March 3rd, 2020. When it was first announced, I remember a clamor in the crowd as everyone flipped out, realizing that one of their favorite games was about to come out with modern graphics. I personally got chills. Just sitting there watching the stream live knowing that a game I loved from my past was now getting a remaster? Why? I can tell you. We often look at movies, music, video games, and books with love. Sadly, sometimes we can say a movie was iconic for our youth and go back to watch that movie to be greatly disappointed with our past selves. This can sadly happen with video games of the past. Say we have grown up and want to pick up a game we loved, like Lion King. Oh, you know the one. Yeah, it's still going to be that extreme challenge. Though sometimes you will see other games get easier. What may have been a good story now seems simple. Yes, that can happen sometimes, but really it doesn't seem to be the case most often with video games, as video games trigger a harder nostalgia than a movie can, because there is so much more time invested, more feelings when main characters may die, and more pride when you beat that particular challenging boss. Tying in with my previous video, what happened with co-op gaming? It is the community you build with nostalgia-type games. I'm sure you remember with your 3rd or 4th grade buddies coming to school that day talking about how after homework you beat a certain boss in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, or playing Contra next to your buddies on the couch. There's a sort of remembrance of enjoying the game with others that games nowadays do not tend to have. There is, of course, the argument that we get more connection because we're talking to someone in Texas, to Germany, to Australia. Yes, it definitely does, but to have your best friend over for the night as you geeked out on some games and handed the controller off to give it your best go, or crash into each other in Mario Kart as you work to beat each other out in the first place prize. For some, this means when we look back at specific games, we think of our friends, the good times we had, and just hanging out with the people of like mind. This is one of Nintendo's biggest marketing schemes, and why I think they continue to just reuse primary characters. What are we on, Mario Party 90 now? Just kidding. I know that this has been revamped with Super Mario Party on the Switch. Nintendo has done something that most may not realize. They have given the next generation updated and cool new characters while at the same time appeasing to the older generation who used to play Super Mario Bros. Or the original Mario Kart. With the Switch, they promote that community, that friendship, and playing together. In addition to community, we also have that homesickness for a specific place or a world we explored, an escape from the harsh realities of life. Not all of us had an easy experience growing up, and some people would use games as a way to explore a virtual playground not their own, a way to be a hero when their own world was coming down around them. Nostalgia provides a way to deal with that pain. People can look back on a game and see the joy while they had playing it, that it was a glimmer in a deep, dark pit. Re-entering that glimmer later on in life when someone is having a hard time is the same for many as curling up with a good book, eating some soup, and having a warm cup of tea. For those that weren't into that community experience, say the introverts among us, this was a way to get out there and explore a wide, vast world. A safe space that allowed them to explore a dangerous world from the comforts of their own home. What this all comes down to is that nostalgia is many things. One of which is that you may play a pretty crappy game, but it's more the feeling you arrive at from playing that game as it reminds you of that happy place or that happy time you have long forgotten. Not only is nostalgia a powerful tool of the past for video games, but it has heavily influenced modern games. There are many games that are designed to give that old school feel with the 8 to 16-bit graphical styling that pay homage to those older games. There are also a lot of remastered games finding a resurgence, like the Spyro series getting a remake and released recently, or like we mentioned, the Final Fantasy VII remake coming out soon. This can also hinder the future of games, in my opinion, when we spend so much time dwelling on that feel-good feeling from the past we see like we have now. A lot of remastered games from old that sells out like hotcakes because it's familiar. In a way, it's good to get that touch back into a game you played when you were younger, but with updated graphics. For a game company, that means it's easier to make a game to be updated than it is to start a new game from scratch and create a totally new IP. We also see it in the new but still old PlayStation 1 release or the Super Nintendo that both have old games logged in on them that you can play. It's a paltry selection of games that for being able to play a memory that you can just as easily be downloaded with a ROM or set up on a Raspberry Pi. I'm not trying to come down on the trend, just clarifying that while it is good to have that past, we fondly remember sometimes it's good to move on so we can advance. A studio dedicating its time to remastering an old game could be looking for a new idea or a new way to play games. Just look at the potential there is with virtual reality gaming. Tons of options to be had. And who knows, we could have a Ready Player One type world, which is kind of ironic since that world focuses so much on the nostalgia of gaming itself. I think that no matter how we move forward, there will always be money in nostalgia. What people forget is that people don't really want to go back to a time when the world was simpler. They want to go back to a time when they didn't understand how complex the world is now. Thank you for tuning in to our Nostalgia in Video Games video. Make sure you leave a like on the video, comment below if you'd like to see more evaluations on gaming features, maybe what gaming ideas you'd like us to look into, or just what you're nostalgic about. Also, if you would like to help the channel out, make sure to click that subscribe button and leave the bell icon on for future videos. If you'd like to reach us outside of YouTube, make sure you stop by at gamersamongus.com where you can get all of our gaming news, podcasts, articles, gaming reviews, or any new videos that we have coming out will all be posted there. You can visit there or Facebook, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, or Twitch if you would like to reach us outside of YouTube. This is Distilled Grizzly, signing off, hoping you have good luck with all your future gaming.